what happened in the White House in the last 24 hours? Because US President Donald Trump went from threatening Iran with strict military action to actually claiming a peace deal is almost ready.
I don't know if you heard, but we ended the war with Iran today, and they have agreed never to have a nuclear weapon, something that we insisted on. That was the whole purpose. That was 95% of it. And they've done it in the most powerful way you can do it.
The US president claims a deal with Iran is very close and that key terms have already been agreed upon, and that he has even cancelled planned military strikes because an agreement could be signed well within days. Now, as expected, financial markets immediately celebrated the news. Stocks surged, oil prices fell. But there is one major problem. Iran says there is no deal. So, has Trump genuinely pulled West Asia back from the brink of a major wider war? Or are we once again seeing a familiar pattern where Washington and Tehran describe the exact same negotiation in completely different ways? Let's break it down. The current conflict began on February 28 when the United States and Israel launched a wave of strikes against Iran. Although an April truce managed to halt the immediate fighting, the ceasefire never really solved the underlying disputes. Since then, diplomats have been trying to negotiate a permanent agreement that would prevent the conflict from reigniting. That is the backdrop to Donald Trump's latest statement. Posting on social media, Trump claimed that negotiations had reached the highest level of Iran's leadership and that discussions had progressed so far that the United States had cancelled planned strikes against Iran. According to Trump, the framework of the agreement has already been approved not only by Washington but also by Israel and America's regional partners. He even suggested that the timing and location of a signing ceremony would be announced soon. Now, oil prices dropped almost immediately because traders assumed the risk of a major regional escalation had fallen. Stock markets rallied because a reduction in Iran tensions would ease concerns about energy supplies, inflation, and global economic disruption. However, within hours, Iran publicly challenged Donald Trump's version of events. Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesperson Ismail Baghai stated that Tehran had not reached a final conclusion on the agreement. According to him, negotiations have made progress and most of the text has been drafted. But, he said, serious disagreements remain. Iran's Tasnim news agency noted that Trump has declared a deal to be imminent dozens of times in recent months. According to the agency, similar announcements have repeatedly been followed by fresh disagreements and delays. So what exactly are the two sides arguing about? Well, at the center of the negotiations are Iran's nuclear program and missile capabilities. Trump has indicated that any final understanding must include the removal of Iran's enriched nuclear material and the dismantling of missile infrastructure. For Washington and Israel, these conditions are essential. Iran sees the issue very differently. For Tehran, its missile program is one of the country's most strategic assets. That is why, even after months of discussion, reaching a final agreement remains extremely difficult for both sides. So, where does the situation stand right now? Donald Trump says a deal is very close. Iran's major disagreements remain unresolved. The coming days could produce a historic agreement that could formally end one of the most dangerous confrontations in West Asia. Or they could reveal that the two sides are still much farther apart than Donald Trump's optimism suggests.